right, we'll check back in with Mike Epple over at 680 News for the latest in business, including a record high start for the TSX.
Yeah, indeed. Good morning, Tammy. The Toronto stock market finally joined the party yesterday with the composite index hitting an all-time record high. A small gain, up 22 points, but nevertheless, record for the benchmark on Bay, which is now up by about 5.5% for 2017. Compare and contrast with Wall Street, where the Dow Jones Industrial Average was up for a fifth day yesterday, up another 80 points, hit its 68th record of the year, if my memory serves. It is now up almost 25% year to date. Even with interest rates going up a little bit, the U.S. Central Bank raised its benchmark interest rate for a third time this year, up another 0.25%, and is signaling more interest rate hikes to come. Now, this is going to be an interesting day on the interest rate front because we've got another 6 central banks set to announce interest rate policy, including the European Central Bank and the Bank of England. No change expected, but they are expected to maybe say, hey, the economy is doing better, so they're going to start pulling back on some of the economic stimulus. And we'll also hear from Bank of Canada Governor Stephen Poloz. He'll be speaking to a lunchtime audience at the Canadian Club here in Toronto and talking about risks to our Canadian economy going into 2018, maybe dropping some hints about interest rates as well. Some market watchers or economy watchers in this country say, you know what, 2018 could have a couple of stumbles, whether it's consumer debt loads or maybe even the oil market again, because we've seen Canadian oil prices somewhat collapse this week because of pipeline constraints and another job cut announcement just being made this morning by Calgary's Cenovus Energy, cutting another 15% of its workforce. Now, we'll get our gauge on U.S. consumer spending today. Some retail sales numbers will be in, and that'll encompass the U.S. Thanksgiving weekend. And it's going to be interesting to see how much money Americans are spending ahead of Christmas because U.S. consumer confidence is at a multi-year high. Stock market's way up. Housing prices are up. So has there been a spending boom time in the United States? And where is the money going? Because we've already seen some records set by some of the e-commerce retailers specifically, whereas some of the more traditional bricks and mortar retailers have had a somewhat choppy year. And we've also got a big vote coming today from the U.S. Federal Communications Commission on the issue of net neutrality. Who controls the internet? Is it the internet service providers? Is it the content providers? Should it be even playing field? The FCC could roll back some Obama-era rules and regulations, which have really only been in place for a couple of years now. And a quick Bitcoin update, because we've actually seen Bitcoin calm down a little bit. It's at 16,700 and change, down a couple of $100 this morning, but we are not seeing necessarily the big price swings that we did. And maybe that has something to do with the futures contract trading this week. And some of the companies also saying that there's so much activity still on those Bitcoin exchanges that the internet is somewhat slow in making and placing orders.
Yeah, Mike, when you say Bitcoin slowing, and I'm still looking at the numbers, and they're still astronomical.
But we're not seeing the $1,000 moves within a couple of minutes. So
it's calming.
It's calming to some extent, sure.
Yeah. All right. Thanks so much.